Welcome to Curated by Culture. I'm your curator, Cassandra. Thank you as always for joining me. I really appreciate it. First things first, how's your head? How's your heart? I really urge you, as always, to check in with yourself. For those of you watching on YouTube, you have a special treat today. My hair is it's a little wild and free. I'm getting ready to get it cut, so I just blow dried it. Anyway, thank you as always for joining me. So on the last few episodes, I've really been talking a lot about love, well, the lack of love that I'm currently seeing between men and women. And I really focused on that first, and then I went into talking to just the women, and then I kind of honed in on just the guys. And for the most part, I think the women received what I said pretty well. They understood, their lack of standards is what's keeping them held back sometimes, and some other little, tips and tricks that I kind of shared. Not tips and tricks, but advice, maybe. I don't know. And then last episode, I did the men. And, well, that didn't go over as well as I had hoped. Like, it went over for some. Like, I know, like, my nephews listen and they were like, oh, it was a good episode and things like that. But then there were some men that I know and they were like, well, what about women? First of all, I'm going to say this. We need, as a culture, to stop doing the what about. Focus on your own self. Secondly, as a man, why are you comparing yourself to a woman, right? You want to have such division. We're stronger than you. We're this, and we're that. Then why are you comparing? Why are you comparing what I'm saying that you do to what a woman does? I'll tell you why. Because you guys love to shoot the messenger, especially when the messenger is a woman. But who better to give you thoughts and opinions and advice and feelings than a woman? Like, if I see you all doing and not living up to your potential, I'm going to tell you. This is something that I think you need to understand in your relationships too. When a woman is giving you a feedback or a criticism, now I'm not saying if she's speaking down to you, because I don't promote that. I literally titled the episode, I love you, man. I literally said, I love you. I always say, please listen with your unhurt ears, because I want you to receive this from a place of love. And if you've been around for this journey of these last two seasons, then you know that I never say anything to hurt anybody's feelings. I never want to hurt anyone's feelings. And I say everything everything I say comes from a place of love. So I always wanted to be received that way. So it's important that as I say the rest of this, you hear that I mean this in the most loving way. And so now I'm going to what about women are natural lovers, nurturers, caregivers. We're naturally all those things. Why? How do we know this? Because God gave us the beautiful gift of reproduction. We're able to birth life, right? So with that came great responsibility of, okay, you're going to give life to these little humans, and you're also going to love them. You're also responsible for showing them love and giving them love and all these other things, and that's our job, right? As kids get a little bit older and they start playing with toys, there are all sorts of toys for little girls to become moms. There's kitchens, there's dolls with diapers, there's a myriad of things for girls to be beautiful. There's always a vanity set. There's always all these things. But for men, what for little boys, what do you have? You have cars and guns, okay, Legos and bikes, but those things are really universal. Anybody can play with those things. But there's no grooming for men. Men are made. It's not a natural thing. It's not instinctual. You don't naturally know how to be a good man. You don't naturally know how to be a good provider. You don't naturally know how to take care of a family, how to teach your sons how to be good men, or how to teach your daughters how to find a good man, or they should be loved by a man. That's not a natural thing. Men are made. So all that stuff that I was saying was things to help you find yourself, understand who you are. And I've also said in so many episodes, we need to have more community-based programs for little boys, for young men, to understand what hurt looks like, so you don't allow your ego to kill every relationship because somebody hurt you on the playground. The idea of journaling or talking to God is to help you become emotionally intelligent and understand what your feelings are. All these episodes where I talked about feel your feelings, and stop resorting to anger, all of that stuff is because there was nobody there to teach you these things in a lot of situations, right? And sure, we can say, oh, you can say, oh, I had a dad, my dad. No, but your dad might be lacking in that area as well, because the system was never designed for us to have these things. It wasn't designed for us to have better educations. It wasn't designed for us to have fathers in the homes. There were a lot of things that you guys are failing to realize happened to us. It's not your fault. It's not your mom's fault. It's not your dad's fault. It's just the way society happened to work. And if you're lucky enough to have grown up with both your mother and your father, and they were both emotionally intelligent, then amen. Like, praise God, and you are so lucky. But it is your responsibility in a way to turn around and say, hey, if you see your bro's not doing so well, give him that fatherly advice, that brotherly advice. Give him those little nuggets. We don't have enough people doing that, because a lot of times men become so combative on these things, it's hard to talk to them. So that's why I said, journal, write down your thoughts, understand, feel your feelings. All the things that I said on that last episode, I said from a place of love. I want it to be received in the same love that I gave it. I want you to do better. I want you to be your best selves. I want you to be out here thriving and surviving and living and all these other things. I really, truly don't think we understand these things about ourselves enough, men. And sure, I can say there's some things with the women. I have a lot more to say, and I'll probably share more in season 2. But for the purposes of these 30 minutes, I shared some little thoughts and things like that. And some of the men just did. I guess it's like you didn't like what I had to say, or you didn't like the messengers, one or the other. I don't know what it was, but I urge you to understand that men are not instinctually become men. You have to be made into a man. You have to understand what values are. You have to understand who God is in our lives. A lot of men don't have those things. Sure, there's a saying that God watches over babies and fools. And a lot of times, a lot of men survive because of their praying moms and their praying grandmothers. But what happens when mom's not around to pray for you anymore, or when grandma's not around to pray for you anymore? Do you know who God is by yourself? Are you choosing the right women who will lead you to a godly lifestyle? That's a question. So those are my thoughts anyway. Sorry. Um, that was all I had to say. I wanted to just bring that up because there were some comments from some men, and I still hold on to the same thing. I love you, man. I really do. I love you. I think this is going to be my last episode of this season. I need to take a break. I need to work on some things, very important things, and the Levolution can continue forever in reality, but I do need an end date, and I think it's now. So that being said, I would save the very best for the last episode. I want to talk about unconditional love. I joked on the last episode about the Chris Rock special from years ago, I think, where he talked about that, nobody loves men unconditionally unless they're providing. The man is providing. And that's a lie. There is somebody who loves us unconditionally, and his name is God. Um, Not a single one of us that is walking this earth is perfect. We literally are not. We're all not, there's not one single person that's perfect, but every single one of us is forgiven. God gives us grace and mercy, and he forgives us every single day. Every day is a day to start over. So if you messed up yesterday, you get the chance almost immediately to start over. Or if you need to sleep on it and think about it, the next day, God says, I forgive you. And today is a new opportunity. Every single morning that I open my eyes, I I literally say thank you, because I open my eyes. I don't think we realize how fortunate we are to open our eyes. I don't think you realize how lucky you are that you get to wake up on this morning and listen to my podcast, because some people don't make it, and that's a reality. And that's something that we don't even stop to say thank you for. There is a man who gives us unconditional love, who gives us unconditional grace, unconditional mercy. His name is God, but he is the least remembered person. We remember to call this person. We remember to call that person. We remember every lyric to our favorite raps. We know all the ins and outs of our reality show stars or basketball players. We know all these things, but we don't know God. And that is what's killing our culture. That is what's killing society. That is what's killing us. Every morning he gives you grace and mercy. We're not perfect. That's unconditional love. That's what unconditional love looks like. You will never find this type of love from another human. The love that God gives us, you will never find in another human. No other human walking this earth will ever give you that kind of love. but nobody remembers him. We're out here. I'm searching for the love of my life. I'm searching for more money. I'm searching for this. Some people are like, I'm searching for peace, but they're not searching in God for peace, which is weird to me. God is unconditional love. We need to stop seeking love in other places from other physical human beings and start looking for it in God. Those people will come. God will make sure those people are in your life. But like, I say this a lot to the Hinge people. Oh my God. Every time I see people talking about Hinge, and I have nothing against the dating apps. I guess it's a way to meet people and connect. So I don't ever want to like make it seem like, oh, it's a judgment thing. But when you're really looking for true love, I don't think you're ever going to find it on those apps. Just as people lie in real life, people lie on those apps. And those apps are really kind of predatory to me, if you ask me, to be honest. How easy it is for a serial killer or a stalker to look through pictures of men or women and say, oh, this one's pretty, I'd like to kill him. Or this one's pretty, I'd like to drag them for the next 6 years, or whatever the case is. Why are you doing this to yourself? Instead of seeking God, which in turn you'll find yourself, in turn you will find people who are like you, in turn, instead of seeking that, stop running to these apps. I say this all the time to people, like, turn off the distractions and find God. People are like, what do you mean? I'm like, turn off the distractions and find God, and I promise you things will feel different. And they're like, what do you mean? I'm like, all right, for instance, um and I've shared these stories before of people who are like comparing themselves to other people on social media, comparing their relationships, comparing their dating lives, comparing their travel, but they're not finding themselves. They're just doing the comparison thing. And what do we say about comparison? It's the thief of joy. We know that, right? There are a lot of people who are on these apps looking for peace, looking for ways to kill their depression. Like, why am I depressed? Hashtag depression, hashtag this. I promise you, if you removed all those other distractions and you downloaded one app, there's one app that could replace all those other apps, the Holy Bible. It's funny because I was just joking with somebody. I only have friends on the Holy Bible. I only have 8 friends on the Holy Bible app. Is that crazy? I have 2,000 people that follow me here, 4,000 here, thousands here, but only 8 on the Holy Bible app. That is very telling of our culture. Like, that is very telling. 8 friends. I urge you to stop right now and look at your Holy Bible app. And if you have it, if you don't have it, then download it. But look at your Holy Bible app and tell me how many friends you have. But also, what I urge you to do is, I'm going to do it with you. Um, I'm going to see, I'm going to go on to the Bible app and type in depression. So, if you're on Instagram, you can type in depression, I'm sure, and see what you get. You'll probably get some memes and some things where people tell you what they were doing, and that's all great. I'm not saying that. I don't find that to be a negative. And sure, it's probably relatable, but we're all individuals, right? So something that might work for one person definitely might not work for you. And then you're just like, okay, you just like it and you keep going, but you might still find yourself in depression. Whereas if you go into the Holy Bible app, and I just typed in depression just for the sake of doing this, and almost immediately just a bunch of scriptures came up. So I'm going to read a few. Psalms 34:18. The Lord is close to the brokenhearted. He rescues those whose spirits are crushed. 1 Peter 5:7. Give all your worries and cares to God, for he cares about you. Matthew 11:28. Then Jesus said, come to me, all of you who are weary and carry heavy burdens, and I will give you rest. One more. Philippians 4:6. Don't worry about anything. Instead, pray about everything. Tell God what you need and thank him for all he has done. Oh, wait, one more. Philippians 4:7. Then you will experience God's peace, which exceeds anything we can understand. His peace will guard your hearts and minds. Like, what? There's nothing I can find on any other app that will give me this. We need to remove the distractions and really chase this unconditional love. We want it so bad, we need to chase it even badder. I don't know if that's the right word, but you understand what I'm saying. We want all these things so bad, but we don't chase it. We're not really seeking it. We're saying we want it, but we're not really chasing it. We need to chase it. Turn off the distractions. Find God. God's unconditional love will get you through anything. You're looking for peace. Find God's unconditional love. You're looking for peace, it's in God. You're looking for happiness, it's in God. You're looking for rest, it's in God. You're looking for understanding, it's in God. You're searching for your purpose, it's in God. If you seek God first, he will bring you into true knowledge of yourself. I promise you. So as I'm saying, find yourself, find yourself. I'm also saying find God. God's got unconditional love to give, and he's giving it out for free. He has nothing. All he asks, find me. Commit yourself to me. Pray. Be thankful. Tell me what you need. I will give it to you. But you have to understand that you have to do it God's way. We're so conditioned to do things our way. We think all these things just should come and should come. And, oh, I'm lucky. It's not luck. It's God. We're searching for unconditional love, but we don't know. We don't understand that we have it. We already have it. You just need to commit yourself to God. And sure, people will argue other things like, well, what about this? If God's so great, what about this? What about, well, he also gives us free will. So there are people who are living off of their own free will and doing whatever they want. So if you believe in good, you have to believe in evil. It's just those two things go hand in hand. We know this since the beginning of time. They have to go hand in hand. So unfortunately, free will is what keeps some people, holds some people back, and this is changes situations. Sure, there's going to be death and crime and murder. So yeah, that's free will, and I also blame the government, but that's a topic for another day. I really, really, really urge people to understand that there is a person that loves us unconditionally. His name is God. If you are looking for solutions to your problems, find God. If you're looking for peace, find God. If you're trying to understand why these things happen, find God. God will give you all the answers. God will give you all the answers. But we don't do that enough as a culture, as a society. We run to these apps, we run to other people. A lot of people, men and women, I'm unhappy in my marriage, so I find somebody else. I've shared those episodes in the past where, I shared like actual case studies where I've said, turn off the distractions. You know that Instagram is the number one in 2022. It was rated the number one apps for reasons cited for divorce in 2022 and 2021, 2022. I think it was because people were just out there just cheating, going crazy, cheating. What a distraction if you're trying to live a good life. If you're trying to live a godly life, what a distraction if you're trying to be a better husband or a better wife. What a distraction other than to have this very thing on our phones that allows us to, oh, if I want to find somebody, I can find them. If I want to deal with somebody, I can deal with them. If I want to DM them, I can. And God is like, what? What's happening? Go to the Bible app, okay? I promise you won't be able to cheat there. Delete those distractions. Delete those things that keep you bound to humans. I think Prince said something about the internet many, many years ago. He's like, it's all well and good and it's cool, but don't let it control you. Don't let these things control you. That's the power of will. That's why God gives it to us freely. He's like, you have free will. You can do whatever you want. But if you want to live a great life, find me. If you want to live a righteous life, find me. If you want to live a full life, find me. And that's such a simple thing, and it's like common sense, but it's not so common. I'm always talking to people. I'm always encouraging people. I don't push anything on people, and I really try. I hope this doesn't come off ever as pushy. I don't push things on people, but I think that I was having a conversation with somebody, a friend of mine. She's a good friend of mine. And we're always talking, and, she's sharing that this guy she's dating and the situations and this and that. She's trying to build a bigger career and a bigger business and all these other things. And she feels like he was holding her back in certain ways, or the relationship or whatever the situation was holding her back. And, I shared so many times with her. I'm like, well, why don't you just cut him loose? Not forever. And I think that's another topic for another day as well. But it's the idea of, holding on to people when we realize how they're also hurting us, but then making excuses for the harm that they're doing to us. We really need to stop doing that. But I kept saying, you know what? I think you need to do some journaling. I think you need to do some talking to God. I think you need to just kind of push him off to the side, not forever, just for this season of your life where you are struggling in this one area. And, we talked about it in detail, and I'm always praying with people. So I prayed with her. And she was like, yes, you're right. And so, I'm always texting. We're always texting, whatever. So one day I said, hey, I just wanted to check up on you and see how this whole situation is going. She goes, I know, but I haven't cut him off yet. Like, I think he's really good for me. And I'm telling you, he's not. Like, I'm telling you guys, like, he's not. But, we choose not to see that. We choose to keep the blinders on. And, I think that's a trick from the devil. I really call that a trick from the devil. When we can't see how somebody's harming us, the devil sends really nice things to, like, he sends horrible things to us, but he puts them in nice packages, right? So she likes the overall package of this person, and she likes all these things, but she's not realizing how much this person is harming her. And so, that's a trick. That's the devil's plan. He doesn't want you to receive God's unconditional love, because he knows once you get it, you find this perfect peace. Like scripture that we just read, you find this perfect peace, and you're like, wait a minute, I never want to go back to that lifestyle. And now he loses another one, and so on and so forth. Because now she can, if once you get there, you can share your testimony. This is my testimony. This whole podcast, this 2 seasons, is my testimony of the way God just changed things for me in my life. And now I'm like, well, I have all this wisdom, and I want to share it with people. I have situations that I've been through. I want to share it with people. I have things that I've witnessed people go through. I want to share it with people so you don't make the same mistakes. But I want you all to get here faster. I want you all to get to that peace. I say it all the time. Like, I want young people to find peace so much faster. And I mean it. Like, I try to spend as much time with my nieces and nephews, and I have a lot. And younger people that I love and I meet, I've told you about some of the people that I've met, or young people who just attach themselves to me. I want them to find peace faster, because I feel like once we get there, we're better equipped to find our purpose. And once you're living in the power of your purpose, my goodness, like, it changes things. I know I sound like a crazy person when I say that, but the power of your purpose is so, like, it's unexplainable once you find that love that God has for you within your purpose, because you'll feel so full off of your purpose. That love that he gives us, that peace that he gives us, it's so powerful when you're walking in your purpose, because you really feel like, okay, I'm doing the work. I am doing what God intended for me to do. We just don't understand that enough in our culture, in our society. It's just not designed this way anymore, ever. It's just not designed this way for us to understand the power of walking in our purpose. And the sooner you can find that peace, the sooner that you can find these things that God intends for you to live. This is living. When I say things to people like, that's not living, like, that's not the life God wanted for you. God wants us to live our best lives. That's unconditional love. There's nobody on this planet that wants you to live a better life than God. He wants the best for you. We are his children. As a parent, I want the best for my daughter. I want her to have everything her heart desires, but I also wanted her, and she's already there at 22. My gift from God is literally already walking in her purpose. She's figured it out. And listen, I'm not tooting my own horn, but I'm going to toot my own horn. And I want this for everybody, which is why I've done all these episodes. This is my testimony. But once you get there, you can share your testimony, and so on and so forth. This is how we give back. This is how I say, you should send the elevator back down. This is how you send the elevator back down. You reach back and say, hey, listen, that's not cool, bro. That's not cool, baby sis. Do this. Try this. Find God. Find God. You're looking for peace? Find God. You're looking for love? Find God. You're looking for real wealth, not monetary wealth, but real wealth? Find God. Everything can be found in God. That love you're searching for, all that unconditional love that we're all seeking, and we're all seeking it. That's the power of connection. I think it was like one of my very early episodes I talked about. And if you're new here, I urge you to go back to season 1, because I shared a lot in season 1. But I talked about addiction being the opposite of connection, or connection is the opposite of addiction. We're looking to connect with people. We're seeking people. We need somebody. I need somebody. I need somebody. What is my connection? I can't find one. I become addicted to porn. I become addicted to drugs. I become addicted to gambling. I become addicted to these things because I don't have a connection. God is the plug. He is the source. He is the greatest connection that you can ever have. His unconditional love will fill you and carry you out through the rest of your days in ways you could not even imagine, if you can stop what you're doing right now and find them. And I don't push this on anybody. Like, it's not, I'm also not pushing a religion thing. I have to be very, really clear about that, because sometimes when I talk to people, are like, oh, it's not a religion thing. And if you know me, you know, I keep a foot in the streets, and not in the negative way, Aaron. I keep a foot in the streets, but I am not a pusher of religion. I am a pusher of spirituality. I'm a pusher of finding your purpose. I'm a pusher of God, finding God because your purpose is found through Him. I'm a pusher of those things, becoming spiritual, finding your higher self, being the person that God intended you to be. Scripture that I always recite: greater is He who is in you than he who is in the world. I'm a pusher of those things. I'm not a pusher of religion. I am not a super pusher of churches, because that's a whole topic for another day. But a lot of people have been hurt by churches. So yeah, you should maybe go to church, but you got to find the right church, a church that works for you, a pastor that you could resonate with, a pastor that you feel comfortable enough to call your pastor. Because in a ways, those are your physical, spiritual here on earth, Father. Yeah, it should be a connection. So sure, churches are tough. That's a tricky subject, and I'm not going to get into it. But when we understand that God is the Alpha and the Omega, He is the creator of all things, we understand that the only place unconditional love can ever come is from Him. So as I wrap up this season, and end the Lovolution, this is the thing I urge you to do. And again, like I said, God gives you free will, so you have free will. You don't have to do these things. But as I talked about, should I say, on January 1st or December 31st. I don't remember. My New Year's message, which was called Tribe Called Rest, where I said we need to rest, but instead of making New Year's resolutions where we want to start exercising or start doing this, I said we should shed the weights of the world that are holding us back, whether it be people, places, things, anything that's holding you. I said, I urge you all to shed those things, rid yourselves of those things, rid yourselves of those anchors, and prepare to sow the seeds for this next season. And this is a new season. To me, Jesus' resurrection is really a metaphor in a way for some. And I share this all the time with people, the resurrection of Jesus, which we call Easter, is really a time for us to start new. So if we started the first season of this new year by shedding and sowing, this is a season for us to be new again. This is a season for us to, and now that we've shedded those things, we let go of those past hurts, we let go of those past traumas, we let go of those things, we gave them grace, we gave them forgiveness, and we understood that they didn't happen to us, but they happened for us. In this new season, we have the opportunity to find God, find His, ask for His forgiveness, also thank Him for carrying us, for bringing us for all these days. And now is a new season where we can live and be more like Jesus, which is what He intended for us. Jesus came to this earth to show us how we should be. God gave His only begotten Son. He let Him to be crucified so that we can see this is how we should be. We should love one another, period. Love one another with no judgment. God gives us the same love. He doesn't judge us. He gives us forgiveness, He gives us grace, and He gives us mercy. So this new season, I urge you all to try to be more like Jesus. And no, we're not perfect. So I didn't say be Jesus. I said be like Jesus. Be more loving, be more kind, be more forgiving, offer more grace. Just try to love people and see them for who they are. Don't worry who they love, how they love, what they wear, how they wear it. Don't worry about all those things. Just focus on your task, your purpose, finding God, finding peace, finding happiness, finding true love. And I promise you, all those blessings that He's offered us will grow. So I'm going to end again with James 4:8 that my nephew Aaron shared with me. Come close to God and God will come close to you. Come close to God and God will come close to you. I really truly mean this. I want you guys to find this resurrection season, or this resurrection, as a time to start fresh, a time to start new, a time to rebuild, a time to start walking in your purpose, to find your higher self, to be your best selves. And I think if we can each just share this with people, or share this thought process with people. I told you guys before on TikTok, they call me a hippie, and I'm like, I love that title. I love it that you see that I love it. So I urge you for that. I urge you to do that. I urge you to pray for your neighbors, pray for your family. Yes, God watches over babies and fools, and people need prayer. So, if you see somebody who's still not ready to commit, that's okay. Just pray for them. Pray that they'll one day find salvation. Pray that they'll one day find these things that we know, us believers and people who are walking on this path of spiritual happiness. I pray for them, and I urge you to pray for them too. And that's it. Thank you guys for listening. Thank you for listening all season, last 2 seasons, if that's how long you've been around. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I really appreciate it. I will be back very soon. I just have to take a little break here. But thank you for listening, and support you, ma. Call me.